Hello and welcome to the magic of fishing. Today you join me back at Badshot Lee Complex, which is owned by Farnham Angling Society. You may have seen me on here in a couple of previous videos, but today I'm trying a completely new pond, which is King's Pond. It's the smallest water on the complex, but it's supposed to be packed full of fish, all kinds of species: roach, rudd, perch, tension carp, and that's my kind of dream fishing on a beautiful sunny day like this. We're in mid-May, we've had a nice warm week, and I've got a few hours this afternoon and evening to try and catch whatever's swimming in front of me. And just look at that beautiful blue sky. There's not much wind today, but what little breeze there is has been pushing down this end, which is just round the corner of this long, narrow lake if you're heading from the car park, the main car park. And I'm just a few pegs down from the end. It's a lovely reed fringed water. Although it's got a really good stock of fish, it's very naturalised, and if you struggle with access, there's some lovely firm pegs and a pathway all the way around. And I'm going to be fishing a couple of lines and a couple of baits. I'm going to fish the open water with hempen caster, you know, one of my favourite bait combinations, on a medium sort of waggler setup, geared up a little bit in case we hook any carp. And then I've got a slightly stronger setup, 8-pound main line with a 6-pound bottom, just for fishing a bigger bait like corn down in this margin. And there you can see I'm fishing on peg 3. But you can see it's a beautiful looking spot on a glorious day to be out by the water. You may have seen a recent video of mine where I visited another Farnham water, the summer pit, and although I had a couple of great carp out of there, lovely looking fish, it was a bit of a slow day. So today I fancied some bites, get a bend in the rod, and let's see what we can catch. And the first line I'm going to start off with is about down the middle really, which is always a line I like to try if I'm after silvers like roach or rudd. Nice insert waggler, plenty of weight on there, preloaded, so an easy cast out. It's probably 2 or 3 rod lengths to the middle, and they'll be loose feeding hempen caster and see what we can attract in. Now, there is some strimming work going on behind me by the sounds of it on the big pond, which is a lovely open gravel pit with some really big specimen fish, so forgive me if that noise gets picked up by the mic. I'm sure it won't go on all afternoon, but as always, really exciting to fish a brand new water, whether it's a big river or a really small intimate pond like this. So let's get fishing. Very simple fishing, 3 number 8s down the line. I've got 5-pound main line, a 4-pound bottom, a bit heavier than I'd like to fish for silvers, but there are carp in this venue. I just missed a bite there. There are plenty of small carp in this venue. Bait looks okay. And there's 1 or 2 beds of lilies just starting to emerge as well, so I don't want to fish it too light and risk losing many fish. And I have got that heavier setup for down in the margins a bit later. Just another bite there, getting a bit rusty, John. And that has nicked my caster bait. Got quite a big hook as well, forged size 16, which isn't typical of roach silver fishing, but it's okay when you're masking it with a couple of casters, and the fish in here are not too hook shy from what I understand. Let's see if we can actually connect with the next bite. Feeling that sun on my face and arms. It's fantastic to be out as always. The bites are instant, and I definitely need a bit more practice at hitting these ones. I'm very good at taking the bait from the hook. Right, let's be ready for it this time. No messing about. Oh, it was a bite. Very quickly, sailed away. Only a small fish, but oh, not that small actually. It's a nice little roach. 3 or 4 ounce. It's a great start. I'm going to slip them back on the left away from the bit where I'm feeding down on the right. And we're into our second fish, and it's definitely not a small roach. Just back winding at the moment. Not sure what it is, to be honest. Could be a carp, small one. It's been quite slow and steady so far. Could bend in this light rod. But it didn't take long to latch into something a bit bigger. Again, a bit more back winding required. There are a few pads down here in the margin, but nothing too well established yet. And this is zooming all over the place. It's like it's woken up a bit now. Yeah, it's a small carp. They really do fight till the end. Well, would you believe, hook came out in the net, but we got him. Nice little stocky mirror. That's fish number 2, we'll get him back. Another silver. Little rod. Wow, that's 3 fish, 3 species. That's the kind of fishing I like. When someone's not revving their engine nearby. Well, we're into another fish, a 4th, if we can land it. And that took it on the drop. It's heading right for the far reed, so I'm almost sure it's a carp. And we'll try our best to get him out on this relatively light gear. Kept him out those far reeds, which is a good start. That rod really is hooked. There you just heard the clutch cushioning the line a little bit. Some call it the drag, some call it the clutch. I think either or. And we have got him under control now. It's just a case of whether we can end up netting him. Just look at the sun coming through these yellow flag iris. Summer's on its way. Well, you can barely tell, but that is actually a perch, and that is another species, so I'll take that. Always fantastic to see kids outside, away from the screens and catching fish. Well, look at this for a dinky little carp. I think some people call these pasties. I think it's possibly the smallest carp I've ever caught, but they're all welcome. I've not been showing them all, of course, because it's been almost one a chuck, and that's, I think, number 22 fish, not carp. Let's see if we'll put him back, see if we can get something a bit bigger. With the sun getting a bit lower and the moon starting to rise, I think it's time to give this spot down on the right hand side a go. Just put in a few casters. I've been feeding it steadily all through the session, and we'll see whether we can catch fish much closer in, right under a rod tip. Got the usual Grays 11-foot specialist float rod, 4,000 size reel, 8-pound line and a 6-pound bottom. That's probably overgunned based on what I've been catching so far, but we are fishing near some pads and there are bigger fish in here, so no harm in being prepared. We'll go with 3 casters to begin. I'm just going to drop it in. It's always nice watching a float, makes you feel like a kid again when it's right under your rod tip like this. Got friendly ducks having a feed next to me as well. Yeah, just like some of the kids who are fishing around the pond now. It's making me feel like a kid watching that float. So close in. If you are a keen match angler or specimen hunter and you've not done this in a while, it's always worth giving it a go, at least once a season. Just recharge the childhood batteries. Lots of little dips so far, probably just small stuff. But as you know, everything's welcome with the magic of fishing. And the sunlight is glinting off the rod and the line. Always like fishing into evening. And apart from the geese on the lake next door, it really is a peaceful evening. Wind's dropped, there goes the float. We've got another one. Well, we hooked it by the pads and it's now heading for the other end of the lake, even with this stronger rod. It's not a big one, but really exciting when you hook one like that down under the rod tip. That was on 3 casters. We've got worms if we need to try them. We've got sweet corn. Oh, it's a common, that's nice. Could say we've got another species, one of the better fish of the day. That's a cracker. And look at that for a beautiful lump of gold. First fish, first cast down the margin. That's really enjoyable fishing, right by your feet. It's probably the best of the day so far. So let's try again. Really am pulling the float fairly tight up to the margin. Bit of structure for the fish feel safe around, and it's interesting that the first fish from down in this marginal spot, I have been feeding it for a couple of hours now, but it's probably the best of the day. You do sometimes get the better fish down the edges, many match anglers will know, and indeed big carp hunters. There's another little dip. Oh, missed that one. Apart from the geese on the lake next door, it really is a peaceful evening. Wind's dropped. There goes the float. We've got another one. That's 2 or 3 casts, or can't really call them casts, 2 or 3 drops in the margin, and our second small carp. Really good fun on a sunny spring evening. And it's another common. They must prefer the margins, because all the many small carp I had out on the normal waggler line, or the further waggler line, they were all commons. Sorry, all mirrors. They're really, really feisty fish. Just hooked in the corner of the mouth. There's a mint little common. Coming back. Really would be building up quite a weight in a match, but it's not what this evening's about. Now, I like mixing it up a bit, so let's try a grain of corn. The float looks great. Those clouds reflected in the surface and a few little pads. You can't beat a float tip when the sun's starting to slant and hits it from the side, really lights it up. Little wobble there, dip, lift, and it goes. And we've got one. Oh, and it's a good one. Whoa! Off he goes into the sunset. Just tighten that clutch up a bit. Always nice to try different baits. He's gone into one of the lilies there, but we've got him out. This one's really keen to scrap in the margin where we've caught him from. What a fight. And I hope you've been enjoying watching these bites with me down by the rod tip. Really does take me back to childhood, and can't beat seeing that red tip dive deeper under the surface before striking something solid. They're not big fish, but I really don't care, and if you're a bit jaded with your fishing or you've not been on the bank for a while, I can't recommend this more highly. Get yourself down to a well-stocked, beautiful pond like this, some simple bait, some corn, maybe some maggots or casters, and you too could have an evening like this. It really is worth doing once in a while. You know what? 99% of the time I go fishing, I don't want it to end. There's 100 last casts, or I leave it until the very last minute that I've calculated I can pack up and make it home on time. But today's just been one of those days where I've scratched that itch, and when you've got to walk as stunning as this back to the car, this is Badshot Lee, big pond behind me, quite weedy down this end. Now we're well into May, but you can see the yellow flag iris, full bloom behind me. It's completely still, and I've just been enjoying nature for the last 15 minutes really. Felt able to pack up. I've really enjoyed it, caught more than my fair share, and I hope you enjoyed being along for the ride. What an amazing sport this is we've got, and we're privileged, or I'm privileged, to do it in places like this. If you're not already in the club, come on, now's the time to subscribe. Join the rest of us, there's plenty more videos like this, and if you are already in the gang, thanks very much for your support as always, it really is appreciated, and I'll see you again before long on the bank.